talk about euthanasia today. In the United States, over around 25% of the population in today's United States has, in some time in their life, been diagnosed with depression. And in another health aspect, 40% of Americans, both men and women, will be diagnosed with cancer at one point in their lives. That is the current statistics for cancer, according to both the Gallup and Cancer.gov. One method that society has created to combat these illnesses and fight them off is a method called euthanasia. What is euthanasia? The definition describes it as a doctor is allowed to end a person's life through painless means as long as the person and their family both agree that is the right course of action. This practice is currently allowed in the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Canada, and Colorado, according to The Guardian. But in my humble opinion, I think euthanasia is wrong, and I think that for many reasons. I think it's ethically very ambiguous to end somebody's life. I also think that it has a lot of political ramifications that could be abused, but there are also alternatives that we're not considering. And what I want to convey to you today is that this needs to change. We need to get this system out and usher in a new system. So why is euthanasia that bad? Well, for one, from an ethical standpoint, I believe that euthanasia disrespects the value of human life. The medically allowing someone to kill another person because they don't want to live anymore, regardless of the reason, you can agree it makes a human life less valuable. It just makes it easier to kill people, and it sets the bar lower for humanity. It also there's really no way to properly regulate it. According to John Walton, who is a lord in the House of Lords in the UK, we conclude that it's virtually impossible to ensure that all acts of euthanasia are truly voluntary and that any liberalization in the law in the United Kingdom would not be abused. It's basically impossible to run politically. It's just no way to manage it. So basically we're putting literally our lives in the hands of something that's impossible to manage. It could also be pressured by other people. It could be pressured by your friends or family who might be selfish. Maybe they want to get into your will. It could be pressured by the person's self-guilt saying, I'm using up valuable medical resources. I should just euthanize myself in order to save resources for people in need. It could also be influenced by loneliness, addiction, and a host of other things. So it could really be pressure. People would be pressured to do this when really they would never want to do that in another situation. But there are also political ramifications. For one, it gives doctors way too much power. The power to legally kill someone is a power that almost no one should have. I'm sure in times of peace, no one should have the ability to kill another person. And giving the doctors the right to do that, the legal right, sets them above a precedent, basically above everyone else. Name another person, we're not currently in any major war. Name another person in the United States that can legally kill someone. It puts them with judges and soldiers. It just gives them way too much power. It also discourages the need to look for cures for things like cancer or AIDS or stuff like that. Because why would you need to find a cure if you could just euthanize people that are really affected by it, who are just going to die anyway? We don't need to find a cure because they want to die, so we'll just let them do it. It's also a lot cheaper to do than getting a bunch of medical supplies. So people could hypothetically propose you should try euthanasia because we don't got a lot of money right now. So it's also a method of money, and you shouldn't that shouldn't be an issue. Money should never be an issue when regarding other people's lives, especially not to save it. Uh, some alternatives instead of killing another person's life. We could create more institutions that creates better help for people with mental issues, depression, people, suffering mental illnesses, PTSD, schizophrenia. We can get better help for them instead of using that as a method to say, hey, they have this, they should be euthanized because that's the only thing they're gonna want. Also, another thing is that we say that doctors are always right, but sick people could always recover. Doctors are not always right, and we need to encourage ourselves to broaden our view of medicine in order to cure more diseases and just overall make the population healthier. So, to finish and to call everyone to rally against this, euthanasia is disrespectful to a human life. It could also turn into a political loophole that could end a person's life just for money reasons. And people all around the world need to respect life. And if you feel the same, you need to get behind not supporting euthanasia.